Welcome, guys. This is the House of Fame podcast. Man, this is a very special moment for me, man. I've been waiting a long time for this. I got my father, Mr. Fame Sr., to sit here and sit down with me. We've been trying to get everything aligned for quite a while. We haven't seen each other in a year, and it's due to our schedule. You know, my dad is a retired law enforcement. Me, I'm still traveling the world, all over the place, and still trying to manage my time. So I'd like to welcome my father. This is a special moment. Pops, man, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, man. It's good to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
And it's just, what a day.
Yeah, man.
Finally made it down here.
Yeah. My father drove 2 hours, 2.5 hours actually, to get down here because he knew this was a special moment for me. And, my time is, I rarely have time. And, my father, he took the time out to make that drive. And he was actually on time all the time. Me, I ended up being late, Miami time.
Yeah.
It plays around with it a little bit. It plays around with your schedule, so I kind of play with the traffic a little bit too much. But, Pops, man, I want us to sit down and have, a really good, deep conversation.
Okay.
We've been through a lot of things in life, good and turmoils through, family situations and stuff like that.
Sure.
But first and foremost, I speak very highly of you. I always talk about how you were in the Marines and also in law enforcement for so many years.
Yes.
Give a little bit information on that.
Well, I'll just start at 18. I went into the Marines 2 weeks after high school, which ended up being one of the best things I've ever done. Formed really my younger years into what I eventually ended up getting into, law enforcement, which was a whole different level of experience. So, I was a police officer 26 years, and some unique experiences, particularly, trying to raise you around the house with those kind of pressures, because, we both had the same name. So if somebody saw you, they knew who you were, and as well as when they see me. Matter of fact, I like to say you're the one that made me popular because everybody seen and known you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll tell you like this, growing up in a law enforcement household, it had a little bit of an impact, and it had impacts for the best for us and, not so good. Mm-hmm. The best is that, we always had a great support system. You always take care of home. But, some things I did notice was that, emotionally you were affected. And I know that's something that's hard to, contain, because I know you would try to hold it in, and the times that you would hold it in, whatever you go through at the department or whatever the case is, your way of expressing it or holding it in, you would ignore, and you would do it for, sometime a week, 2 weeks at a time. And when I was younger, I didn't understand.
Well, you're making a great point, because it's one of my biggest regrets is how I didn't talk enough about some of the things that was going on. Unfortunately, I wasn't the best communicator whenever I came home, which I think could cause a little bit unnecessary uneasiness. And unfortunately, it did impact our relationship to a degree. I do remember how when I was involved in a shooting, how that impacted you at junior high school, and how I call it the pressure of us having the same name and everybody knowing us, how we had to live up to a certain standard.
Yeah.
I like to mention how you would say I was kind of tough on you, and I'm like, man, I thought it was kind of easy. So, but that's just, it definitely impacted our household. And I definitely have some regrets about that, but also I knew that I also had people that would be watching out for you too, other than me, because I have great friends that end up having an impact on your life when you were playing football. They still talk about you to this day. So
Yeah. Actually, I do still talk to a few of those guys on Facebook and everything like that. As far as the impact in the house, it built a lot of character for me. It built a lot of structure. It disciplined me a lot. There's some things that I try to change due to the fact that like I'm gonna give you this example. Pawpaw. Pawpaw, I love him to death, and I can never stop thinking about him. Pawpaw, if y'all don't know, that's my grandfather. That's what us country folks call our grandfather.
Yeah.
So when you ever hear me say Pawpaw, that's my grandfather. I know things when we talk about stuff like when you grew up, used to grow up, things that affected with your father too as well. And then as you came and started raising me, you would try to fix whatever Pawpaw lacked in, whatever your father lacked in. And now I see myself doing the exact same thing. I say, okay, I remember, okay, my father, he did this, but I know what affected me that I wanted to be fixed, but maybe it wasn't fixed at the right time. So now I know that, okay, let me fix this with this next generation, my son. Let me fix this because I know how this situation is going to affect him.
Yep.
And it's like a generational, I don't want to say it's a generational curse, it's just lessons because I know there's still things I try to fix that I can't fix. Now I got to look forward to my son to fix now because I wasn't able to fix certain situations in a time span. If that makes any sense to you?
It kind of makes me think about how I always like to say every generation tries to, particularly as far as the men, try to be better than the father, like my dad, Pawpaw. I was very determined to be a better father than he was to me. And that doesn't mean he was a terrible father. There were some times I felt like I wanted him and he wasn't there because, he had a second family and stuff like that. But I knew it was important to show the kids some kind of interest in them. And so I remember telling my dad that I'm a better man than him. And I think that's what he expected. Just like I'll tell anybody, as a matter of fact, I wrote about it on Facebook, how you're a better man than me because whatever things I might have some shortcomings in, not to have that with my grandson Lorenzo. So I think I agree with what you're saying, and I'm glad you were actually reflecting back on some things where I might have slacked or lacked. Because I had, unfortunately, back then I had a tendency of solving things like I was on a call. You ask me this, I go, blah, 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 do that. And I just keep it moving, which sometimes you just got to be quiet and just listen. Yeah. I wish I would have listened more, but I can say as I've gotten older, I understand that now. And I like watching how you are with Lorenzo and how you're making sure that whatever I like, then you don't make sure that happen with him.
Yeah, I feel like every year, every generation, it gets better and better if you stick to it. I wanted to talk to you about, because I always was curious about certain things about that shooting. I know when we talked about that shooting, you've been in a couple. No, the one shooting I remember when the guy with the sword. Yeah, you shot him. You shot the guy that came at you with a sword. But one thing I want to talk about is, and your best friend, Larry. And okay. I see how. I remember your personality, how you were before that, and I was just a boy. but I saw how your personality changed,
Yeah, it did.
and you were never the same. It was like a look in your eye. I can't really explain. It was like a dimness. It dimmed a little bit, and I saw that, and I still feel like you haven't recovered from that because that was such a close place to your heart.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell that story a little bit?
Sure. My best friend at the time, one of my best friends, he was a police officer, got in some trouble. I'm trying to make the story go by a little quicker.
Yeah.
Not make it so prolonged. But basically got in trouble and had a warrant out for him, and I was trying to, at the time, keep the police department from sending a SWAT team after him, which they eventually did anyway. I was trying to, we were the type of friends that spoke every day.
Mm.
So there's some things that was very, on top of his suicide, which I know I kind of jumped the gun there, which was very painful because he killed himself before I could get to him, was the betrayal I went through with the police department.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying not to make the story real
No,
long,
go.
But I've never been betrayed like that before, because when I was trying to help, they were going to use me to also I use the word, going to use me to do them too, and I just resented the hell out of that. That was just very foul shit, and they didn't tell me they were going to do that. And a lot of people at the police department understood my anger, but they didn't support me. At least I knew that behind the scenes they were kind of supportive, but when it came to making a stand, not one of them, except for Melvin Byrd, would stand with me about that incident, which, in hindsight, it impacted the whole police department for the rest of my time there. There's always been a little pall over that place, and I just never been betrayed like that before. And when it came down to when I realized he was suicidal, I couldn't even call my police department to even help me. A lot of people didn't know that. Only person I had was Melvin Byrd. And unfortunately, they found him before I could find him, and he killed himself. And that thing really, that lit a fire in me. And I'll tell anybody, no, I was never the same. I still, if I talk about it sometime, I might tell people, hey, if I went into some details about it, they could really, I think people would really understand why I went south like I did. And it took me a while to even get the guts to go back to work. I mean, how do you go back to work when your friend killed himself? Yeah. And you got to work among people that betrayed you. Yeah. It's just a tough thing. And then, unfortunately, that impacted our household. I know I was not a very good person to deal with at the time, and it was just a battle.
Well, let me ask you this. Due to the fact that you're dealing with all these turmoils within the police department, do you think that may have affected how you felt about me when I got into law enforcement? Because the reason why I asked you this, I didn't feel that you was as supportive. I see it now. Like when I look at it as an older man and looking at my son, and I look at my son like, no, I don't want you to be in law enforcement. You know,
that's correct. I did not want you to do that.
So I know when I had troubles, like, you know, trying to figure out if I still want to be in law enforcement, was this the path for me? Was I destined for something else? And when it came to that point where I guess I could say I gave up on the career of law enforcement. I mean, when I first got in, I was so excited. The police academy being in something new, I saw basically what I saw in the police academy and being in getting into that career. I was looking at your career, not looking at all the negative, but I was just looking at how everybody highly respected you. And those of you who don't know, my father in the city that we grew up, well, that I grew up in, he has keys to the city off of, when he retired and everything like that. Just experiencing and seeing all that stuff, and I don't think you realize just how much. I know you say that maybe I got me through you, like far as like the popularity and stuff, but that was all sports. But you don't understand how much respect that I had got due to the fact that I was your son. And I think that's something that probably went over your head.
Well, I think I remember you and I having a difficult conversation one time and I never forget, you told me that, and I have to say it how I said it. I said something about you don't be fucking up my name.
I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I remember that.
I remember that.
And so, hopefully that didn't offend anybody when I said that. But I really meant what I said because our name, Fane, it carries some weight certain places. Particularly, my father's from Alabama. Everybody know the Fanes in certain parts of Alabama. As a matter of fact, say, I had an uncle that has a school named after him up there in Alabama. Let's say small town, but still, it was instilled in me about your name and how you should be protecting your name, as well as those you love and care about. But your name carries some weight. Just like right now, your name carries weight in Miami, and that's all about you. Just like my name carries some weight in Brevard County. Well, not as much, but at a time. So your name means everything. And if you have a good name, it'd be kind of nice somebody thought decent of you before they even saw your face.
Absolutely. And I do think that's the reason why I'm so hard in everything that I do. I put my name involved with it, whether it's my company or whatever brand and stuff like that, because I did go off of how that one thing you said. I remember that to this day, and I never forgot it.
I remember 'cause I was so angry when I said it.
But the thing you don't understand is this. Even for example, my son. My son is a good kid. He doesn't get in trouble. But I know there was one incident last year. He got into like a little fight with another kid, and I got the call, and this was like my first time dealing with any situation with my son. So they called me and it was like, hey, he's been in like an altercation. He got into a little fight, and I said, okay. So they told me the whole thing what happened. I said, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let me talk to my son. I want to hear what he got to say.
Yeah.
So, my son told me, like, oh, he hits me and all. He hit me first and this and that. He's saying I have to do, like, Saturday school and all that. And, I said, okay, now put me on speaker. So the teacher, the principal, and whoever that other kid is, and if that kid's parents are there, I let it be known. I say, listen, I'm telling you, and I want everybody to hear this. If you didn't start nothing and somebody start something with you, you finish the situation. I don't care what nobody in the school says. I said, I don't care if they say you suspended for 2 days. I said, man, if anybody plays with you or mess with you or tries to fight you and it's not your fault and they're trying to pick on you or bully you, you end that right then and there. And you end that before you get to the house.
Yeah.
And ever since to that day, he never had no issue. Even on the football field, somebody tries to start some altercation. Sometimes I have to get on close to the field. I'm like, hey, y'all still on the same team. Lorenzo, chill out. Just chill out, But what were you going to say?
No, but see, it goes back into something I learned. Well, you're in the executive protection business. And my thing is, it also applies to just seeing it, like I say, your name, people you love and care about, how you have to make sure you can take care of yourself through your, got to have some kind of speed, some kind of stamina, some kind of strength, and some kind of skill. I always say those 4 assets you got to have if you're going to be protecting yourself as well as others.
Yeah.
So continue to instill that in him, and I'm definitely an advocate of defending yourself very aggressively when somebody's messing with you. And fortunately, that kind of helped me in my reputation because when it's time to, as I use the term, batter the chicken, that's a term I use for whenever it's time to get physical with somebody. And I'm like, you do it. If you do it right, hard and quick, should be over with relatively quick.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Continue to emphasize that with Lorenzo, and I'm a fan of his too.
Yeah. Well, I know you when you were younger. I know we didn't speak about this. I know you were into used to kickbox. I used to tell people about that. I was like, yeah, my dad used to be in kickboxing.
In the mid '80s, I've had like I think I only did like 6 amateur fights. I was okay. I got knocked out. I knocked some people out. I mean, it's always
That's
cool.
a part of the game. I mean,
It's always cool when you knock them out, but when you get knocked out, it's kind of like, ooh, how'd I get up off this mat? But the bottom line is, you just keep getting up, doing the best you can.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what draws like a lot of fire within me and you, because I know you were really hard on me. This is where we come to being hard on me. Football in the beginning years. You know what? And you know what? And the thing about that is, it helped me a lot, as far as in life. But you know what I had the problem with, especially when I went off to college to play ball. When I was younger, and you remember how I used to always get distracted.
Yes.
And you used to come down on the field and like, yo.
Yes.
By the way, just letting you guys know, my nickname is Kibo. Nobody knows that in Miami. That's a hometown name.
He stole my nickname when he was born, and we've been calling him that ever since.
Yeah. So whenever I would get off track while I'm playing football, this is in Little League now. You know, my father would run down to the field. I would just hear him yell my name, Kibo, Kibo. And I already know I did something wrong, you know, so I would turn around and I would see you doing this and that, pointing. But then it would get me back in the character, get me back focused.
Yeah, I would point at my head and just say certain things. And like I say, of course, I'm sure most people, they might know, but you were all-state running back. And how I used to scream, like, I used to say, hey, man, you juke linebackers, you run over safeties.
Yeah.
I say that, like, man, because I always get that little shoestring tackle. I'm like, man, run that over.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong, I tell about it. Man, Friday nights was the best times, man. Yeah. And I enjoyed it so much that when that time went so quick, and I was like, oh my God, I felt like I lost something. Yeah. But now with Lorenzo coming along now, I'm like, wow.
Oh, yeah. You know, Lorenzo, I'm going to tell you like this. I feel like he's going to excel more than me. And I'm not just saying it because of the, physical part. It's the studying. I know, remember how I used to study?
Oh, yeah.
I used to, this back in the days when we had videotapes. So I would record whatever, like, running backs I would idolize, whether it could be Warwick Dunn, Fred Taylor.
Do you remember
the BYU versus Texas A&M?
Yep.
Don't remember those. I don't remember the name of those running backs, but it was something about those two running backs, the one for BYU and the one for Texas A&M. There was something that I saw in them that I wanted to learn. So I would watch that over and over and over and over.
Study tape.
But my son, I know probably because it's a new era, I never seen someone sit there and study, go on YouTube.
Oh, wow, he's doing that.
He goes on YouTube. He comes to, he'll come in the front room if I'm watching TV or whatever, he'll start doing trivias of what's going on. He starts doing stuff and I don't even know the answer. Like far as like these updates of trades and all this stuff. I'm like, bro, know these updates, man?
He's doing it like that. Wow.
I'm trying to tell you, Pop, like he took it to another level.
So he's like a student.
He's a student of the game. And I feel that I kind of got to how far I was through off of raw talent. Just raw talent. My son is getting it off of studying and hard work. And I don't know if you know the difference between people that are just talented. They just got raw talent. And those people that got raw talent, they don't push as hard because they know they got it.
Yeah.
And you got the ones that work hard.
And that was you.
That surpasses them, So, yeah. Because I felt like I was the underdog because there were certain running backs that were already had a name. And I had to show everybody that I was that guy, which I did in my senior year. I blew past everything.
It wasn't for Willis McGahee.
Yeah, Willis McGahee. Yeah. So nobody knows this, Okay, so I made I made this, was it second team All-State for Florida.
For 6A, yeah.
For 6A football, high school football. And I felt some type of way because Willis McGahee, I don't know him personally, but I remember, I guess he broke his leg or something?
Well, he did tear up his knee during a football.
In the middle of a season, but he did so well his junior year.
Yeah, he bounced back and had a pretty decent pro career, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think, you know what, and the crazy thing is this, who's the other running back from Miami?
At the time, was it Frank Gore?
Frank Gore. You know, Frank Gore was third. He got injured. He was on the third.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
The person that was on the first, okay, so it was Willis McGahee was first, and there was another dude, I think he went to Ohio State.
I can't remember the
something
name.
Gather or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I think that's where I got my drive and my motivation was playing football for all those years. From what I started at 5 years old. This is before I moved in with you when I was living with my mother. I started at 5 years old. Still didn't know the concept of the game. I didn't learn the concept and you know the different positions until I moved with you. Mm-hmm. I don't know how old it was, 9, 10 or something like that. And then I started learning.
You were 11.
11? Mm-hmm. And that's when I started learning, you know, and that's when the talent started showing. But I'm telling you, if you didn't push me like you did, I don't think I would have took it as far.
The best thing I did, which I didn't know, I was doing it for me kind of, when I bought that weight set. And how you and Claude would go in there and just go to town.
Yeah. Now, that's the crazy part. And mind you, I think I was 14 years old. I think I was 14 years old when I got that weight set. Was I 14?
I think you're right.
15? 14 or 15?
14, 15.
14 or 15 years old. And I remember like yesterday, I remember when you got it, I think you had 4 45s, a couple 25s.
Yeah, I think about total like 225, something like that.
Yeah, total weight. And I remember the first time I got under the bar, I was only able to lift 135. And those of you who don't know, that's 145 on each side and the bar. Mm-hmm. So I remember I was only be able to lift that 3 times. And I remember I would do that every single day. And I remember it would get a little bit more. It would be 4 times this time. And 2 weeks later, it'd be 5 times. And then I think about like now, I'm like, yo, I remember the beginning phases of how I built it all the way up. And now it came to the point where I would be doing 225, 30, 35, 40. I did it 45 times one time.
45 times one time, yeah.
And I feel like I could have did more, but I just put it up because I was just like, oh, you know. But now I have my son. I just signed up to UFC Gym because I moved to that area. Mm-hmm. Now my son, on Sundays, because he practices Monday through Friday, and then he got the game on Saturday. Uh-huh. So on Sundays, I take him with me to UFC Gym. Mm-hmm. We got a cryo, like therapy facility there. Wow. So I take him there to do the therapy and all that stuff, the little ice thing and all that, and then we go work out. Don't do yeah. Oh, so he's in the work. He's working out now. Ooh. Yeah, because when I saw this, so he has a big size on him. He's bigger than I was at my age. So my son is.
For some reason, I can see him being about 260, 270.
Easy. I was 170 I was 170. Okay, I was 170 in 11th grade. And I remember I got to 180 when I first got to 12th. But then at the end of 12th grade year, I was 200 exactly.
He was eating like a beast back then.
Yeah,
too.
But my son, I don't know what it is. He is 160, 165. He might be 165. He was a size 9 shoe now, which was crazy.
Oh, my God. You know, man, I weigh 155 coming out of high
That's
school.
What I'm
wow, he's already that big.
He's huge. The only thing that he has to practice on, he uses his weight because he knows he's big. Mm-hmm. But then when he comes against somebody that has that weight and has that strength, that's when he has the battle. So once I start seeing that in games, or I see certain key players on the football team he plays for, I saw that. So now I'm like, okay, now we need to go in the gym, and now we need to sit there and start working on your power.
Yes. You
know, I don't put him on the actual free weights, but I put him on the isometric machines, get his cardio up just so he don't get a sluggish, due to him being that big, they want him on the line because he's big. I'm like, yo, they going to put you on the line, But if you sit there and you lean out more, you get your speed up. They were looking for your speed.
Yeah.
And you got to have that dog if you want to be in the defense. So
You have, definitely.
you have to be a headhunter.
Yeah.
You have to be a headhunter because, when you're on offense, you can pick and choose where you want to juke somebody or you want to run them over. You don't get those choices when you're on defense.
No, you don't.
You have to be that dog to just, I'm a headhunt every single play. But yeah, that's the strategy that I go by with my son. But let me ask you this, Pop. You were raised in Rockledge. No, Cocoa, I'm sorry, Cocoa, Florida?
Well,
They're close together. They're like,
we kind of split because actually raised down in West Palm Beach up until the 9th grade.
okay.
Then we moved back to Brevard County, and that's where, I only did the high school years in Brevard.
Okay. So that's something that's new to me. My whole mindset, and I guess it's because of my mother, she was born and raised in Rockledge and all her years was there. I knew you said something about West Palm Beach when we were younger, but I didn't know the amount of years. I didn't know that you were there till you got to 9th grade and you did the rest. Okay.
Yes.
So I know Grandma Bird, which is your mom. I know she was born and raised in West Palm, correct? Is it correct? Or she?
Well, you know what? She was born in Lake County, but when my parents separated, we moved to West Palm Beach with my Aunt Inez, and that's how we started our life down in West Palm Beach when my parents split up. That was a difficult time because, like anybody else, I'm sure you probably had your moments too where you just want to be around your dad, another man or whatever. I was from a household full of women. I got my 2 sisters, my mom. I needed my dad. Don't get me wrong, my mother raised us very well, but I've always had a longing for my dad, and I was fortunate that we moved back to Brevard County so I could reestablish a relationship with my dad. And it eventually grew to the point where it was, I say he was the man of my life until he passed away.
Yeah. Yeah. I never really recovered off of that situation. It's kind of hard because, there's been quite a few people that, passed away in my life. And the 2 people that I was never able to recover from was Pawpaw, my grandfather, and the other one was Claude.
Claude, oh yeah.
And,
oh my God, yeah. That's still painful for me.
Yeah, Claude, and as you know, Claude is my best friend, by the way.
He was at the house just as much as anybody.
He
My other son, I like to say.
Yeah, he was like a second son to my father. He's the reason why I moved to Miami, which people don't really realize. So me living 2.5 hours away, I wasn't used to the city life because I'm from the country. And Palm Bay, Florida is more city-like now, but back then it was like
just
like woods, residential and
house.
woods. All we did was play football and run in the fields. Claude, my best friend moved down here from South Florida. He's from Miami. He moved down my 9th grade year, and in the moment he came to my school, we were inseparable. The only time that we start to detach is when, we both moved down here together, and he convinced me to move down here, and he motivated me to move down here because I never would have did it if it wasn't for him. What detaches is when he moved back. And honestly, the only reason why I did not move back is because I knew what I went through living there, and I knew that if I go back, it wasn't going to get any better. So I had to do what was best and make whatever I had going. And I said it was a very crucial first 5-6 years, maybe 7.
Yeah.
Because I've been here, man, I've been here like almost 20, 15, 16, 17 years. I've been here more. It's to the point where I've been here more years than I've been in Palm Bay.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't move back because, there's really not anything there. now it's getting so overpopulated with people now, you wouldn't recognize the place anyway.
I didn't even know y'all had a second exit for Palm Bay.
Yeah, even my way down here, I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah.
So,
Bob, okay, so this is one thing I wanted to talk to you about because I know we both been in the line of work of law enforcement. We both know how it goes on opposite as being a civilian and in being in that line of law. You know, there's a lot of shootings that goes around, you know, that's being recorded. Most likely officers always get the blame because, you know, the tapes get chopped up or whatever the case is. Due to the fact of me working for law enforcement, I always, you know, voice my opinion. I always look at things differently. And as being a black man, you know, especially when we see a police officer, unfortunately, it ended up being a white police officer, kills a black man, you know, we're automatically, our culture automatically jumps on the situation. Oh, they're killing black, you know, but
I call it I call it the black lie.
yeah.
And you can be a testament to this. They don't have any idea. If for anybody to think that there are cops out here hunting black men, I say that's a damn lie. Because if you saw what I went through my shooting, the scrutiny, being in the paper, being on TV, you being people talking about it to you when you were in school, my mother, stuff like that. It was, I'll tell anybody, and the nightmares.
I remember that.
I used to have them all the time. And, you know, I don't have them as much as I used to, but the trauma with that. And then there's the investigation to see if you committed a crime, even though I was defending myself. That was kind of eye-opening to me. I'm like, well, I don't want to be here. I did what I had to do, but to actually be investigated to see if I did something wrong, which was, I mean, somebody else was going to decide whether I'm a criminal or not. And so I really resent that kind of stuff because most people don't only put half-hearted facts. They like to react off their feelings all the damn time. And what I really hate, like the incident in Jacksonville, I don't know why we can't teach our kids how to be more respectful of authority. I would say, like I would tell Lorenzo, hey man, don't go up against no guys. Look, I remember what you tell you. Don't get in an argument with no armed people, and get a hold of me as soon as you can, because you know we got to do a better job of protecting each other, which we don't. We suck at because we seem like we were sitting around waiting for that little white-black confrontation to go a bad way, and then all of a sudden people want to care and talk about stuff, but they're not really paying attention to what we're not teaching our young people, how we're not teaching them how to engage with people that have guns. And I tell anybody, man, cops screw up too. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to be dead over his screw up to make a point. So some of this stuff, making issues out of minor stuff, making it more magnified, I'm not with that. You know, the media just jumps on shit like that and sell papers and get people attention and keep the fire going towards some racial disharmony. And I'm just not with that. I'm not for that. It's a tough job. I don't care if you work 1 day or 30 years. You sacrifice something you'll never get back. And again, people don't even know the things that really stay etched in your mind that you might have seen. Like I went to I have to admit this. I went to 2 psychiatrists, and I was considered what they call hypervigilant with some depression. And I'm like, damn right, man. I don't, you know, it goes back to somebody asked me about what was my best day at the police department. I'm like, there's such thing as a best day. You deal with people all day long, whining, they can't solve their problems. You try to help them out. Some of them don't appreciate it. And yeah, that's, you know, so my thing is, 26 years of that, 4 years in the Marines. I'm like, hey man, I pretty much did some stuff it wasn't necessarily fun stuff. And yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm hyper vigilant, meaning I'm looking all the time. I can't seem to relax. I'm always thinking, what if? And I tell anybody that's kind of a burden to me, to not be able to relax. But I call it, that's the sacrifice you paying for people. I mean, trying to protect people that don't give a shit about you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hell of a price to pay. And I'm very, usually very defensive about how people talk about police because they don't realize, hey man, we need them out there. And instead of videotaping one of us doing wrong, why don't we go talk to that person and say, man, don't give me a hard time, blah, blah. He may even give you a warning and send you on your way. But we don't do that now. We just want conflict, confrontation.
Yeah, yeah. That situation. No, we're talking about the right situation in Jacksonville where
the guy
broke the window.
Yeah, when they showed. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, they showed that part. That's the thing that went viral.
Yeah.
They showed him when he was in the car, when they were right next to the car, and they were like, open the door. So that blew up because it automatically looked like the officers being aggressive, but what they didn't see was the minutes before when they were coming to when they first pulled him over and he closed the door on them, they were explaining the situation or whatever the case is. I think the disrespect is when he closed the door on them.
Wasn't that about it? And I still would say I didn't like him getting punched in the face.
Well, that was uncalled for.
But my thing is, I tell people all the time, law enforcement ain't pretty. LEAP. Law enforcement ain't pretty. And now you got cameras, you want to see everything. And I'm like, we're out there because you don't need to be seeing all this crazy stuff out here. You're supposed to be, matter of fact, hopefully safe at home somewhere. But now you want to see everything. But even in that case, I had a guy who was going to work with us on a podcast.
That was in that situation?
No, what happened was, while I was at the gym, he sends me the clip, text on the phone. I'm like, I said, matter of fact, my response was, I don't care about all that. I said, he was going to come out that car one way or the other, and he came out that car by his choice, which was getting your ass snatched out of there. You're going to come out that car. Matter of fact, if I knew the officer that punched him in the face, I would have told him there's a better technique than that. You get. Matter of fact, if you use it, I see you probably could pull him out the car with the seatbelt still on. I always say, I learned, you go in there, you grab him by the neck, and you just twist real hard and pull up, they'll come out of there. Like I say, the seatbelt might still be on, though. But they're going to come out of there. I always say, you ain't got to punch him. Just grab him by the neck, snatch it real hard, and pull up. The ass is going to come out.
Yeah.
So that's a feign technique. So
that's a feign technique. Yeah, but I think that's one of the main reasons why I don't think I was willing to want to last in law enforcement, because I did see.
I'm glad you did.
When I first got in, what I was 24 years old, I got in, and I think I was in my third or fourth month, and I was sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, I'm already in this. This is the way it goes. But I started thinking of all the stuff that I saw you go through, all the different emotional situations and mood swings. I wasn't affected by that yet. But the one thing that I was always seeing was, I was like, man, do I see myself waking up every day seeing the worst of the worst? You're not waking up going and seeing anyone happy. You're seeing problems every day, and you're carrying those problems on you. You're taking whatever those problems that people are going through, you're putting it on your shoulder, and you're dealing with it. I think that one of the things that affected me was when for some reason, the police department that I worked in, I saw a lot of, molestation. I mean, there was murders and all that stuff too, but that's everywhere. That didn't bother me. Dead bodies and all that stuff didn't bother me. But when I would see little children that was molested or raped and all that stuff like that bothered me. Now, and I didn't like seeing that every day.
And I put a little human side on that. When you see something like that, and you know the person that did it, I'm not saying that. All I'm gonna say is you don't want to treat them very nicely. And I always tell people in a minute, if you give me an opportunity to slap you across the head for doing something like that, you might get slapped across the head. But I know them cuffs gonna be a little tighter, just because. And I still say I'm not saying those things are right, but I'm just saying that the human part of dealing with people, and when you know they've done something horrible, you're supposed to treat them like no. And to me, I always struggle with that. I think about a time, a moment where a man threatened to hang my children, and of course he called me all kind of little racial slurs, stuff like that. But I never get when he said about my children. I immediately thought about, of course, you and my daughter Star. Kind of got my attention. Then he spit in my face. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to just say this. I did eventually clean my face.
Makes sense, and that's highly respected.
Yeah.
But look how that's affected you, and still to this day, you know, that you carry that with you. You know, as far as dealing with those type of situations, and
that's caused me to become more. See, now that I've been retired about 15 years, I'm becoming more of an introvert now. I don't like talking to strangers because I'm always thinking. Part of being hyper vigilant. If you're gonna talk to me, you have to give me some space because I'm not gonna let you walk up on me. And if you ain't really listening, then I, of course, gotta elevate. Still to this day, so I generally try not to talk to a lot of people. I always say, if you want a peaceful life, don't talk to a lot of people because people got issues, and now people are seeing like that. Of course, we see what's going on nowadays all over the country. People snapping, doing all kind of crazy stuff. So I'm like, I don't know what triggers people, so I don't want to talk to them. And also, I say they don't know what triggers me. So I don't want to. I said all that to say, you have to really. It really does have an impact on you for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah,
And you're always looking to, like I say, I'm very protective of people, and I feel like I have to. That's why I still work out, because I know if I were to have a confrontation, it's probably going to be most likely somebody 30, 40, maybe even 50 years younger than me. And somehow I got to still have to be able to whoop their ass because there ain't no excuses. I learned that from the Marine Corps. You're learning. Hey, man, you have to try to take some people out because some things are going on today. And and you got to be able to click that switch. I know I have a switch. I just try to keep it covered up a lot. So, you have to be, nowadays, here we are in Miami. You already know you got to step carefully around here.
Oh, yeah.
But I say it applies everywhere.
Yeah, it does apply everywhere. So. I carry my firearm wherever I go. I always got my knife on me wherever I go. It doesn't matter where I'm at. Because things, like you said, it happens everywhere. You see all these shootings in schools. That's things I always worry about. When I have my son, sometimes I'm a little bit more laid back. Rarely, like if I'm by myself, I'll have my small pistol on me or whatever. When I'm going somewhere. And every once in a while, rarely, I may leave it in the car if I got to go run in the gas station real quick, or if I got to go grab something to eat real quick, like at I don't know. Rarely, but when my family's with me. My kids and my girl, no. I got the rifle in the back trunk loaded. Yeah. I got my other pistol in the glove compartment, and I got the one on me. And I got the knife.
Oh, wow.
No. I don't play no game. No, because, people, let's just put it to you this way. If you have your family with you, right? Let's just say your kids, 2 kids, and let's say you had some issue with somebody in the street or whatever, and they see you, and they're with a group of people. Do you think, it doesn't matter how good of a fighter you are, you can be a black belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or a pro boxer, but do you think you can protect your two kids behind you and still fight off 3 or 4 of those guys without one of them getting to your kids?
Well, see, that's my thing. That's why you got to, there's some situations I call it's going to be difficult to win.
Yeah.
But you got to recognize that. That's why even when I'm with family, I really try not to be comfortable with anybody.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, hopefully your significant other knows, ain't time to chirp, it's time to get moving.
Yeah.
My thing is with my partner, I always tell her, whatever happens, just do what I say.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I would say, if we're in a situation, hey, get them out of here. And I'll tell anybody, maybe you need to worry about them. Because I always think of a firearm as a way of evening the numbers if you're outnumbered.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to get at.
So, yeah, because I'll tell anybody, I'm 65. I ain't got no business wilding in the street with nobody out here. But if I have to, that's why you go to the gym for. Mm-hmm. And you handle them accordingly. But the key thing is to try to recognize situations that's not favorable for you. I'll tell anybody if I was gonna go use the ATM machine and some black folks are hanging around it, I probably won't use that machine. Just like if I went to a store and I saw a bunch of rebel flags, I ain't going to that damn store.
Yeah.
So, I tell anybody, I profile all day long. When I pull up in this parking lot down here, I scoped around, looked around, saw the guy in the car next to me, saw, make sure he wasn't doing nothing crazy. Watching people more. I just, because I know I have to protect me. Like right now, you think you will have to protect me. I'm like, no, I feel like I have to protect you. That's my mentality. Because it goes both ways, and I call it the light never goes off.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, and I think that's just the burden of those years of that sacrifice.
Well, what have you learned since you've been out of law enforcement? I mean, what have you gained from it? Like, have you feel like that was a big accomplishment? Because I know you got the keys to the city. You had a big ceremony.
Well, I would say this. I'm surprised that I actually made it because, of course, the early years were very difficult. You got to remember, I was on about 170 pounds. And those people was handling me. And then it hit me that I would have to fight. No matter who it was, I have to fight physically, mentally. And I did, but I did it more out of survival than anything. And it was nothing fun about that. So I always say, and if anybody knows me, I talk more about my time in the Marines than I do at the police department, because at least in the Marines, they instill certain things like integrity, loyalty, honor. Police department, not so much. Because unfortunately, police departments are very competitive places. I always tell people, during a crisis, other than the military, police probably the second best responders to an emergency. Mm-hmm. I say, but most of the time you're not in emergency mode. And unfortunately, during that time is where all the competition comes. And I call it the nastiness also. Mm-hmm. The backstabbing, stuff like that, which it's funny. It's like no matter who I speak to about stuff like that, it happens in those agencies with them too, because you got to remember, you're talking about a place full of nothing but egos.
Well, what do you think about corruption?
See, that's another good point.
Because before you start that, mm-hmm. The reason why I asked you this, mm-hmm. Like I said, my law enforcement career was short-lived. Mm-hmm. But through that little bit of, there's your eyes open up a little bit. Yeah. Like I said, I don't I don't snitch on anything or anybody or anything like that. But me being a young adult, 24, 25, and you see certain things that you hear about, like that you hear about, and then when you're on that side of the tracks and it's happening right in front of your eyes, you start to realize like, oh shit, this is really how it really goes down. And like I said, I put it to you like this: one thing I learned, police departments are more like I don't want to say a cult, but they're like a clan. Everything is in a circle, whether it's good or bad, it stays within that circle. From what I've learned, if you disagree with that, let me know.
I do disagree to a degree because people like talk about that thin blue line. I'm like, man, no thin blue line.
And I'm not talking about racism. I'm talking about
that's a good thing about police culture because I've always said it eliminates. It's a great filter because it eliminates lukewarm family, fake friends, and even I call it those questionable cops because you don't want to be around them either.
Well, let's put it this way: you're protecting you're here to sit there and make sure the law is supposed to be in order.
But can you imagine working with somebody that's a police officer that you don't like them for good reasons, and you know that they just kind of funky?
Like I said, I experienced that, and like I can start saying stuff, and it'll probably click. But you can let's just say this: you're arresting people. You have to arrest people for beating up their wife.
Okay.
And then the next thing you know, the person that's arresting the people for beating up their wife are known to be beating up their wife. That goes the gossip goes around the department about them beating on their wife.
The police doing that.
As being an officer, that's what I'm saying.
I've heard stuff like that. Yeah. I know, matter of fact, I know for pretty much fact that does happen. Cops got personal problems too. Some of them do stupid stuff. I've had friends do stupid stuff. Does that make them a bad cop? I won't say not necessarily so, but like you said, if you know somebody's whooping on their wife, kind of makes you think shit about them, and yet that person's still there working.
Arresting people for the same situation.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when you think about a guy, I hate these. I'm not, of course, I won't say anybody's name.
No.
But I was thinking about how I've always felt a little sympathy for people that are on the lower end of society, like, the prostitutes. I mean, who wants to go be a prostitute? A drug addict. I feel, nobody wants to go be that. So, unfortunately, those are the weaker people in society. And I always hated how it seemed like, I always hated when law enforcement efforts went a little bit too much into dealing with the weakest people in society, when I think we should go after the more violent people. And I remember how I didn't like how he would, let's say he'd arrest somebody for possession of a crack pipe. That's a misdemeanor. But he would scrape the residue in the pipe, field test it, and it would test positive for cocaine. He would end up charging him with a felony. I thought that was some trash shit. But, they said it was illegal for him to do that. But that's my thing, is how when you know people that work like that, you try to stay away from them. And then I also used to argue about, okay, you can tell somebody, but you better make sure you got the facts, because those are the same people that could be coming to maybe back your butt up one day. Kind of went through some things like that with some friends, and my thing, I learned, I just try to worry about how I walk my walk. And if they are a big enough screw up, they'll get found out.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, you could have a point for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're only human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I just know that, I just felt that it would be a more intense screening in order to hire certain. I just look at it like this. I don't see how people people get penalized for if they have a credit issue. You can get knocked off for credit issues, but somebody might have a more psychological problem.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because, you know, that well, at least when I was there, we wasn't getting no psychologicals yearly.
Yeah.
He just kept showing up. But my thing is nowadays, who want to be one when every conversation you have, and I tell people all the time, that camera that cops have, I say that works more against the citizen than the cop because it just makes the cop be more of an enforcer than anything. I say, man, the days of using officer discretion, I say, man, those days are getting to be over, man, because once that camera comes on, I tell anybody, and I hate when people say they treat everybody the same. I say, no, the hell you don't. I don't do it. And I tell anybody, would I give you a break? Yeah, I'll give you a break. Would I give you a break? Maybe not. I said, I'll tell people it's all about perspective. But if you put a camera on, then I call it what it is. Then the performance has to begin. You know, I got to watch how I talk to this person. And I also think it makes cops hesitate.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes, and I think that's some of them are getting asses blasted away.
Yeah, that's one thing I did want to talk about. Like, there's a lot of situations that, and I saw this in the police academy, and they stressed this to us, and it was a lot of dealing with hesitation, as far as one day the cop. Okay, let's say a regular traffic stop, pull somebody over. You coming up to the car, the guy gets out arguing, whatever the case is. You guys are going back and forth. You tell the guy to get back in the car, to get your license, registration. The guy's arguing back and forth, and the guy said he don't have to. He doesn't want to give you the information. Y'all are starting to get a little physical. He aggressively goes in his pocket, right? But let's say he's aggressive going in his pocket just to get his wallet. But the whole first start off was already an issue. So your first instinct, you're going for your pocket. We don't know what that is. So the officer pulls his gun out before the guy pulls out whatever's in his pocket and then shoots him.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, it happened.
But I feel like it's such a thin line between making that choice, and I still don't think it's really the cop's fault because it was a choice. He had a either or, because it could have been a situation where if the dude did pull out a gun, and let's say the cop hesitated just to see if it was a firearm.
Well, I will say this, and I think cops are reluctant to do this, but I'm like, well, maybe when you put your fist in his face, maybe he wouldn't do that again. But that just my thing is how you got that split second stuff. I always tell people you would have to be there to really experience some stuff. Case in point, at night things look very different at night. I always say I call it when the shadows dance, because a shadow could look like a firearm, could look like anything, could be a hand, could be a stick. I remember I got in a pretty good pursuit of a guy, and he pulls. It's nighttime, and he pulls up in a dark yard, and he starts to get out of the truck, and he's pulling out something long. My partner at the time thought it was a rifle. I thought it was a stick, but I was close enough. I just went up to him. I just kicked him in the stomach, punched him a couple times, whatever. And then we looked to see what he had. It ended up being a cane. The guy was handicapped. So, but it was nighttime.
Yeah.
And I said, because he was pulling his gun out, my partner, and I'm like, well, I got to get to him before he get all the way out. And of course, it's night, dark, whatever. I said, it ended up being a cane. The guy was handicapped. Pretty embarrassing. But when people aren't complying, it shouldn't even matter. That's why I tell people, hey, let's do what the cop says and get on out of there. Because bad stuff like that can happen. Like you say, a misunderstood movement. I'm like, it ain't worth it. So I do see your point with that, but, it's woulda, shoulda, coulda. Yeah. So, but the hesitation from cops was surprising me, because I always tell people, if you told them 2 or 3 times what to do, and they're not doing it. They're either sizing you up or they're getting ready to do something. That's the only two things they can be doing. So I said about that third or fourth time, you need to be trying to move some furniture because this person getting ready to probably do something to you. And I hate to say it this way, but I feel like you're saving yourself from possibly having to shoot somebody sometime by just go ahead on and getting hands on them and handling them. Unfortunately, most cops don't seem to want to do that because they think that somebody has to do something to them first.
You think the camera goes into play on that part? It's because they know they're being watched on the camera?
Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. And it drives me crazy when I'm like, you keep telling him to do this and he's not doing it. And unfortunately, I'm like, well, you got to make him do it. And then people are reluctant to do that. That's just my take on that.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you like this. Pop, this has been like a very, very special moment, man. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt about
I
it.
appreciate everything. I feel like we had needed to talk a lot more.
Yeah.
But we're going to have quite a few more podcasts to go.
Okay. As a matter of fact, if I get mine going, I would love to have you on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I want you to ask away. You know, it doesn't matter what the situation is. I would love that, man.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, guys, this is a House of Fame podcast. This is for this segment right here. I'll see you on the next one, all right? All right, guys.